came on board. Then Clinton came on board. Then the next Bush came on board. And Carnegie all along has been on board because it signed agreements with the Soviet Academy of Science to develop computer courseware for early elementary school children in critical thinking, Marxist critical thinking. So, look, folks, Carnegie is very important, isn't it? Think about it.
Well, it's critical. They planned this out literally 100 years in advance.
Oh, yes, and then Reagan went along in 85 with Gorbachev and signed the agreements to merge the two systems, and then what he had to do, because we'd merged with the Soviets, we had to have public-private partnerships, didn't we? Which is nothing. Corporate fascism is the nicest label for that.
Right.
But that's socialism, communism, merging the government with the private sector. There's no accountability there. So that's what we've done. So that's why they think they can get away with this murder now with Alexander's bill, because it's all led up to that. There's no way that a piece of education legislation could even be presented today without everything I just mentioned. Okay, Anita.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay.
We have a minute to a break we have to take, Anita, then we'll come back after the break. So go ahead. We got about a minute.
That'll be terrific. What we'll talk about next is the next piece in the ESA reauthorization, which is the interventions. Okay. If we're going to have a national curriculum, and that's what Common Core is, you have to have a national test. So when the national test is being done, and we have different experimental aspects of the testing out there, the PARC and the Smarter Balance, there are different coalitions of testing. It's all the NAEP. Okay, that's what people have to understand. It's the NAEP that's using the states to do the test. Okay, once your child doesn't meet a proficiency level, whichever that is, it's not like 80% or 90% anymore. It's a proficiency level that the government has set. Now your child is identified for remediation and interventions, and this is huge.
Remediation and intervention, meaning that the children that are not going along in the way the government wants them to will be programmed and reformatted at the core level of their being.
Yeah, going along with what mom and dad believe in.
That's right.
It's starting at birth.
They're rewiring them or remanufacturing them as needed along the way. This is unbelievable.
They've changed the definition of family. Okay, let me read it off. The term family member means a parent, relative, or other adult who is responsible for the education, care, and well-being of the child.
Whoa.
So
all right, hold on. We have to pause. When we come back, I should read that again. Everything, folks, is not what it appears. And I hope you're listening, and I hope you listen to this program a second time, those of you in the archives. It's really important. Back in a minute. All right, if you would, Anita Hoge, read that new definition of the family for us again.
Okay, family member. The term family member means a parent, relative, or other adult who is responsible for the education, care, and well-being of the child. So the key here is that you're now in a partnership, a legal term that means equal ownership.
Right.
Okay, this is huge because now parents are on the outside. You don't have the ultimate authority, and this is going to be passed into law. This is going to be passed into law, the change of the definition of the family.
Will this be hidden in the back of some other piece of legislation?
Oh, it's probably going to be 1 or 2 pages long. Now, this was in Senate Bill 1094. Okay. I can't tell you where it is in the new bill because all they have are numbers in about 500 pages of numbers referring to something else. The bill doesn't have a number. Okay. It's gone through the committee twice and the public hearings are going on. We can't even tell you the number. All we can tell you is the name. Every Child Ready for College or Career Act of 2015 by Senator Lamar Alexander. And you can look it up because now I'm going to tell you little page numbers because you could go yourself and look at them and you will just fall on the floor. that these things are in an education bill. The first one is on page 20. This says that they're going to do individual student interpretive diagnostic reports, and that these results could reveal personally identifiable information about the student outright. Those are the words. Okay? So what happened, the president did an executive order in 2000, well, it was before 2012. The bill went into effect. They changed FERPA, Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. There are huge loopholes that you can drive a tractor trailer through. That means now all of the data can be accessed by third-party contractors to do research.
Oh, terrific. You know what they're doing
corporations
here?
will be doing the research and developing the computer courseware, and then they'll sell it back to the schools, although they got the information free. Before we go on, I want the listeners out there to know the purpose of this interview, basically, is, of course, to introduce you to Anita, but is you've got to write, email, or telephone your senators and representatives and tell them you don't want any part of this Lamar Alexander reauthorization of ESEA. That's all you say. No way. You don't want it.
No way, ESEA. Got it.
Oh, that's good. No way, ESEA. You don't have to say much. How could you? I can't even do it. It's the most complicated bill I ever heard of. The only person in the world outside of the change agents who developed it, who understands it, is the gal we've got on the line with us now.
Well, it is beyond evil. This is all. You know where this is headed, Charlotte?
Where?
Anita, are you still there? We may have lost her. Are you there, Anita?
Oh, dear.
We'll get her back.
How did we lose Anita?
Well, we heard she's there.
There she is.
Okay. Now.
I got clicked off. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Here's where here's what I'm going to predict. I'm going to predict that within a generation, they will begin. This will be implemented in stages. They will begin to make all children, when they arrive at school, for example, put on a body cam. It's a little tiny body cam that the cops are beginning to wear now. And then it'll extend to a 24-hour-a-day body cam. They're going to have digital audio, video records of every child's movement throughout every day of their lives if they want to. That's where we're right there. We have the technology now. We have the technology right now. Do you think they're not?
Well, I don't believe it's a video cam. I believe it's a chip.
Whatever.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's start with a body cam. It'll be cutesy and it'll be all dressed up, and they'll con the kids. Now, that's my prediction. What I'm asking here is, how are these children going to be trained? What kind of beast of burden curriculum is going to be foisted upon the schools right past the state boards of education, right into the classroom? What kinds of things are they going to teach these children?
Okay. The functional literacy, again, the way that they're teaching math in the Common Core is actually going to disrupt how children think. The math is extremely important because it's the structural part of your brain that creates that structure. It's one thing builds on the other. It's foundational to how you learn. It's like how babies learn. You know, you start with crawling and then you stand up and then you walk. It's a foundational thing. And math is important. And the way that they're teaching math now is so separated. And they're not teaching through memorization. Okay, memorization of like addition, subtraction, multiplication, that is so important in the early years. They're not doing it that way. They're making them draw little boxes, and they're making them use different words of how you do it. And they're using sounds to make them do it quickly, like an operant conditioning system, a bell or a clap or something like that.
Really?
So the math is, so when you're thinking about the math and you're thinking about how people learn, what is the difference between, say, an educated person and a person who is handicapped and doesn't have a high IQ? It's memorization.
That's all it is.
Memorization.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
So they can't function beyond that because they won't remember anything. They can't function. This is really...
They're taking their memories away. They're taking their ability to memorize things away, and they're minimizing it is what they're doing.
The way that they're teaching. Now, the other things that they're doing, for instance, let's talk about the babies. On page 80, it says that they're going to identify the children who are at risk or failing. But it talks about in preschool till grade 2. And it says, oh, well, you can't test those kids, so we're going to have to use, in their words, quote unquote, teacher judgment. Okay?
Oh, good.
So I have all of these tests for babies that you will just die. Okay.
How did you get them?
Well, in Pennsylvania, again, I have the contracts. We requested all the contracts of any organization or any contract that we went into, the Pennsylvania Department of Ed, in order to implement this whole system.
Okay.
So I have the babies. I have what they're doing K through 12. I know what all the behavior mod stuff is.
Oh,
okay.
my.
The babies.
Go ahead. Questions.
They're using anecdotal behavioral data on the babies. So they have these lists. So
well, Anita,
you take your baby.
Let me say something. You said something in your writings, and I wrote it down. It just really made it was the newborn baby. They're going to be evaluating, testing, neurological testing, and all to see if he might have a tendency towards being a murderer.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is pre-crime profiling. I understand. Yeah, they're already doing that.
Well, they are, except that remember when I was talking about FERPA, they allowed DNA sequences, voice prints, iris prints, fingerprints to be accessed. So that means that the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, wanted to go into any classroom in this whole country, pick out a class, and do any kind of research on DNA. They can do it without parental permission. Without even telling the parent.
Tongue swabs from all of them. They collect the DNA. Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, that's what they can do. So
we have 2 minutes left, Anita, and I'd like you to come back next Tuesday night if you're available with Charlotte, and we'll do another hour on this.
To.
All right.
Well, let me finish the babies because
go ahead.
The babies are driving me crazy. So if your baby has separation anxiety and cries when you leave, you get a check mark. If your baby doesn't take a nap, you get a check mark. If your baby hits another baby or doesn't share, you get check marks. These are your anecdotal behavioral data. And you know what? Now your baby has a mental health disorder.
Okay.
And interventions will commence.
And that will require...
People don't hear that and authorize and write their senators and congressmen to kill this bill. It's the end of America. Forget it.
It is. Well, and the bill goes on to say that these Title I funds are going to be given to choice for private schools. That means Common Core is going to walk right in the door of every private and religious school. This is
no elected boards.
And then they're expanding charter schools, which is a public school with an unelected board. So when you do choice, that's the destruction of public schools. That's your neighborhood school going down the drains because there's going to be an exodus out of public school.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what's going to happen to your taxes?
Yep.
You have an elected board that monitors and takes care of your property taxes. Your taxes are going to go to a regional industry board or to the state. You will no longer have a voice. You will no longer have a vote. You will no longer have anything to do with education in your local district because it's going to become a charter school.
That's right. And the charter schools have go to work.
Now, for you folks who doubt this, tell them again where to go, Charlotte.
Okay.
To your blog spot.
Let's remember A, B, C, S for Sam, OF, Dumb Down, DUMBDOWN, blogspot.com. com.
If you click
Everything is there.
Yeah.
Everything is there that Anita's talked about. All the history since 1934, certainly, or earlier. The Reese Committee hearings. Everything is there for you to get educated.
Yeah. Look at the guest